And I'm lying. I just woke up, and as I was sleeping, I was playing Chuck Langberg audio. As I woke up today, I saw that the stream had been going for 11 hours. Then I ended the stream and started a new one right away. And we're gonna get back to playing Chuck Langberg audio. So, my name is Mike Sai, and I'm a Christian Torah video targeted with a secret persecution program called Gangstalking of Torah videos. And I've been targeted for more than a decade with this secret program called Gangstalking. And I live in Oxelösund, Sweden. I was born in 1989, and the target started around 2012. Around 2012, obviously, meaning I became aware I was taught around that point in time. What is gang stalking? Gang stalking is a secret program that works to destroy a person's life. You get stalked, harassed, people get put up to, targeted with psychological warfare, subtle psychological warfare. This is covert abuse, mostly, where it's very similar to the Resetzen program that the German account had. It's simply saying it's gang stalking. Whereas a secret program recruits people to stalk and harass you and target you in different ways. So basically, the program works to destroy a person's life, a so-called tunnel video, and it's persecution. And before I forget, I'm going to turn on some chat restrictions. As always, don't leave any comments or in the like button first unless you want to get blocked. We'll get back to playing track library audio. Looks like it was number 26 on the audio recording session I woke up, so we started from 26. So, Chuck Langerberg was a late Chuck Langerberg was a target video, and he supported it past, I think it was 2013. And I believe that he was unaligned by the program. And he was doing what I'm doing, working to get the word about gang stalking. And he had a talk show calling radio show. Talk show recorded live. Or something like this. So he had talk show, a radio show, talk show. Talk show recorded live or something like this. Recorded? Whatever. So talk show recorded live. Chuck Lagerberg had a talk show calling radio show. And pretty much do what I'm doing. Only I'm live streaming, and a lot of times I'm talking about gang stalking or get the word out. He had a more gang stalking centered show. Okay, so I do all kinds of stuff that actually helps me to get views. The other stuff that I do actually gets me more views than the streams about gang stalking. It helps me to reach more people doing IRL streams and live workouts and other things that I do. Now, Chuck Langberg had a radio show, calling radio show, where he was talking about gang stalking, what to get the word out about it. And for several years. He also had a website. So this is his website, and you on his website. The website, if you see me post this link and you click it, it loads slow. So you have to have patience because it's a mirror of the website on archive, Wayback Machine. And it's not as fast as the original website. So it's a mirror. It's his website being backed up to the Internet Archive, and it loads slowly. So if you click a tab, it might take like 10 seconds until the text has loaded. So it's almost like surfing in the 90s on a 56K modem, we load the website, and it's like taking some time to load the text and even like 2D graphics. So Chuck Taylor had a website about gang stalking, and he had a radio show. And not all of his audios remained, but there were some of his radio shows that were downloaded by somebody and then uploaded to the Wayback Machine before his talk show was deleted. So there's a lot of shows that are missing, but there's quite a few that remain. And I like to play his audios and share his website as part of what I'm doing to get the word about Gangstalked. And who knows, I might get to have my own website at some point in time. And we'll see. So here we go. We're going to get back to playing Chuck Taylor audio. Starting at number 26.
Recorded live.
Hello, my name is Chuck, nickname Van of Vancouver, Washington, USA. Welcome to TalkShoe.com, show number 120297. This is episode number 3034. Today's date is Saturday, October 13th, 2012 at 4:25 p.m. on the West Coast time zone. I have with me on the call Jeff of Chelsea, Massachusetts. I've interviewed him on here before, but today he's going to do what he calls a public service, and he's going to read the webpage at harassmentterror.wordpress.com/category/chemical-weapons. Let me repeat that. It's harassmentterror, all one word, .wordpress.com/category/chemical-weapons. And the title of it is Gang Stalking, Organized Psychological Harassment, Poisoning, Spying, and Destroying Lives. And Jeff is going to read this page for us. And how are you, Jeff? And are you ready to go?
Chuck, I'm doing just fine. And Chuck, this article is in the public domain, and I am performing this as a public service. So if anyone wants to make a copy of this message, it is a strict reading from top to bottom.
Your reading, if I may correct you, your reading is in a public domain. The article, we don't know whether it's dated November 2006. I assume it's not in the public domain.
The reading is in the public domain. Sorry about that. The reading is in the public domain. I will start right now.
Go.
Psychological terror, harassment, multi-stalking /gang. At the beginning of the article, gang stalking / organized psychological harassment, poisoning, spying, and destroying lives, dated November 25th, 2006. Presented here is, from my own point of view, the most accurate description of what is going on with gang stalking things. No one seems to understand how these strange harassments happen. No one is able to believe any reasons as to why they happen. In the text below, presented to Gang Stalking World as an anonymous post, we can see how an enterprise has evolved. One that is criminal and has brought organized crime and the common citizenry together. Deceit, fabrication, threat, and technology seem to have made such a union possible, adding that such a union aims to destroy innocent people's lives, if not to bring them to their death. What is most disturbing in the text below is the salient argument standing out in the first paragraph that states that gang stalking is primarily about poisoning, drugging, and attempting to chemically inducing psychotic-like symptoms in the targets of the crime and contaminate their physical health. Evidence to support this through individual accounts are not necessarily mounting, but from my own personal experience with this terror/gang stalking phenomena, as well as from what I have gathered by researching this, the more equipped and modern these groups are, the more money that has been thrown at them, the more they are apt to use highly covert fumigations, poisonings, and daily incremental druggings in their effort to cause undue suffering, pain for someone they have been hired to target. I have edited the piece of writing below, hopefully highlighting points of importance. If you have not been or are not being poisoned and or drugged, you are not being gang stalked. Gang stalking is described on websites as a bunch of people just following you around doing strange shit. That would just be annoying compared to what it really is. Although it might be possible that the victims are not aware of their symptoms are symptoms of where their symptoms are coming from. I thought I was physically ill at first, but then began to see a relationship between my illness and what could only be described as felony assault. Anonymous post from www.gangstalkingworld.com. Full post here. Gangstalking is a catchphrase name describing what has become part of traditional and new organized crime that is networking through the United States and some other countries. Organized crime groups and some criminal elements from all walks of life use or hire for pay criminal organized stalking crews to assault targets to cover up financial or other crimes. These criminals contract with covert organized assault crews, to silence any potential witnesses or troublemaker, whether real or imagined, that could possibly affect their lives. Contract/assault squad to discredit and silence using their criminal gaslighting method. These organized criminal crews assault victims' family, friends, neighbors, and many people in the community. There is always a reason someone is targeted, and most will know why and who started it, but apparently, some victims never know what happened to them, why it is happening, or who triggered the overwhelming assault. This is probably because the trigger event was irrelevant and meant nothing to the victim, but was perceived as possibly damaging by the criminals involved. The victim could have upset. Now that the person wants revenge, I would see that as a waste of time, thought, and money. But I guess some people would be just that way. I have seen estimates of the number of victims of this type of crime, but nothing I consider credible. One victim is too many. I wouldn't even try to guess how many career criminals participate in this. It can't be many as compared to general population. A very lucrative enterprise. This is a very lucrative enterprise for many of the perpetrators. People considered important to the success of a hit are offered large bribes to become a perp and start working the victim. Advanced communication such as internet, cell phones, and voice over internet protocols have accelerated the growth and networking of these organized criminal groups. Their day-to-day stalking activities depend on the same technologies plus GPS and other high-tech devices, electronic spy, harassing equipment. Law enforcement agencies are aware of these criminal groups and are gathering information on them. I have not read about a targeted individual that would have believed this could happen to anyone had they not became a victim themselves. These criminal stalking groups go to extreme lengths to cover every aspect of their covert operation. They try to have a plausible explanation for everything. The crimes they commit are well planned and easy to do, but easily deniable. Well planned. A victim might see many work projects in the area, small or large, constant maintenance all around the neighborhood involving new workers you have never seen before, endless traffic of all descriptions, mobbing activities near your home, on the highway, in stores, and on the streets. These are mostly perpetrators or all perps in some cases, they will always have a ready-made reason to be where they are before they are dispatched. Poisoning and drugging. If you have not been or are not being poisoned and or drugged, you are not being gang stalked. Gang stalking is described on some websites as a bunch of people just following you around doing strange skits. That would be just annoying compared to what it really is. Although it might be possible that victims are not aware of their symptoms, where their symptoms are coming from, I thought I was physically ill at first, but then began to see a relationship between my illness and what can only be described as felony assault. The mental and physical effects described by most targets are achieved by covert poisoning, using more or less common neurointerrupters, organic phosphorate pesticides, psychotomimetic agents, drugs, and irritants. Some of these chemicals are mixed when needed with additives to make them behave in desired ways. Some are intended to absorb through the skin, and others are intended to be outgassed. They are not all used in the described ways. Some, what I call irritants, are sprayed on the target and act locally on the skin or spread out slowly with various effects. One perpetrator will divert your attention while another one sprays from a breath spray size can on bare skin behind you or where you won't notice. They always make a noise like clearing their throat so you won't hear the sound. I caught them doing this too. Some drugs are mixed with dispersant to make them outgassed. These are squirted at or near the isolated target using covert methods in remote places where possible constant area gassing is done from neighboring houses. The perpetrators spent a couple of days at my neighbors installing the devices they use to disperse their chemicals. I'm sure they are well hidden, but I know where I can find them. These house devices have been refilled on a regular basis since they were installed. Passing cars or trucks with an electronic squirting device are being used, each squirting an outgassing mixture as they pass by. These were almost constant for several years and are still coming. On the road, perps will squirt outgassing mixtures from the back or the front of their car's truck at your car truck. When they can get away with it, perps even do this while walking past in order to gas the target. The chemicals will outgas quickly or slowly depending on their intended use. The most dangerous assault is the direct assault from car trucks that has been electrically powered, high-pressured squirting device behind the grill. These unusually squirt pesticides that is intended to stay put, then absorb through the skin. This attack can penetrate thick clothing and is usually done in a parking lot or anywhere they can get close to you in a car. Beware of cars pausing near you or aiming at you in parking lots. An individual perp on foot will work their way behind you and squirt your lower back using covert rigs. This is what I first caught one of them doing. The chemicals can be administered by flipped coworkers, neighbors, friends, family, local strangers, and old or new professional paid perps. Neurointerrupters have a cumulative effect. With successive poisoning, there is a gradual decrease in cognitive functioning, with is what is intended by the perp. I read an account of one victim who had been poisoned to the point he could no longer speak. A perp will always wait close by to observe the condition of the victim after assault. A protection against this is waterproof or impermeable clothing or any barrier that will block what is essentially a high-tech squirt gun. If the victims fail to protect themselves, they will go down as a result of these assaults. Some psychotomatic agents, usually LSD or similar, will be applied to the surfaces the victim will ordinarily touch: door handles, cabinet drawers, or any place in their home, car, and places at work. Daily vitamins, coffee, shampoo, or anything used or consumed on a daily basis is a potential contamination target, especially single-use items. In the home milk is often contaminated with OP pesticides. It is possible, if put in any clear liquid, because the liquid becomes cloudy, gloves and clothing might be turned inside out and treated. Time to change your cloth. Don't forget to shower. The perps will start slowly, only contaminating a single item or items they have control over, so no evidence will remain in case law enforcement. So no evidence will remain in case law enforcement investigates. After they believe they have compromised the victim's credibility, they'll become more active and aggressive with contamination and all other aspects of organized assault. The following, as well as this entire scam, may take place over the course of many years. Community infiltration and influence. Co-workers, neighbors, friends, family, law enforcement, and the general public are told, planned, consistent lies about the victim target. This will start with law enforcement long before the actual assaults begin. They will do this to set up the target, hoping law enforcement will believe their lies and ignore the victim when they first report the crime. Perp may show a bogus investigation file or flash fake badges in the community as part of the scam. Hire local lawyers, private investigators. Perps might hire local lawyers and private investigators in a ruse to legitimize the scam. Later, the perps will report crime or trip alarms in the area, so the police will have to drive by the target's home. This will make the target believe the police are part of the stalking. They will pull fake fire alarms for the same purpose. Ongoing double assault. While working the chemical attack, the perps perform street theater around the target. They hope the poison drug target will panic, then report and try to describe the bizarre skits to law enforcement. The goal is to create poison and drug-induced psychotic episodes, paranoia, and actions that could, the perps will say, appear to be schizophrenic. If only you are not educated about schizophrenia, you would believe this. The perps often launch large drug assaults against a target in public. If a target is affected enough, they'll report or encourage a bystander to report the target to the law enforcement, saying the target is schizophrenic, crazy, or psychotic. Some of the perps are bold enough to say the cops do what they have them to do, indicating the perps are making fools of and are smarter than law enforcement and the targets. Many of law enforcement are aware of the perp stalker tactics now, and they would like nothing better than to bust this criminal enterprise or anyone in it. People in communities tricked or conned. Some people in the community are tricked or conned into participating. They are told clever lies about the target. They may even be deluded into thinking they are doing a community service. If they knew the truth of what they were involving themselves with, they would not cooperate willingly. Others accept money or other forms of compensation. Many who know or are close to the target are forced to take part in this criminal scam. It's essentially the offer they can't refuse. Some are set up for various crimes and blackmailed for any existing secrets they want to keep from co-workers, family, friends, or the community at large. Those close to the target that resist are threatened or poisoned using the same methods until they obey. After they are flipped, they are coached by these criminals in their methods and assault and supplied with covert equipment to topically spray or squirt these chemicals on or around the target in their food or drink. This will be done at every opportunity at the target's home at night to wake you up or away on foot or in the car. Technology watching privacy invasion, confusing the victim. Anywhere the target is or goes, the perps will work together using surveillance, advanced communications, stealth, and simple diversionary tactics to draw the target into position for an assault that will not be detected by the general public. The perps have their own websites and shells to spread misinformation and disinformation to the internet. Some pose as support for victims trying to disrupt the actions of those who are really trying to help victims. There are perps posing as victims. These perps post intensely crazy-sounding accounts describing bogus satellite attacks or advanced electronic weapons and the ever-popular mind control which they stretch way beyond anyone's imagination. They want to frighten and confuse real victims with a mix of real and bogus information that they hope will be believed and repeated by victims. These posers will also befriend a real target to gain information to launch yet another attack. They also will tell targets things like get out and live your life. What they really mean is come out where we can get a clear shot at you. I read one victim's account that they knew a man that started their stalking and that the man had a reward poster with the victim's picture in a target on his office wall. I think the victim said the offer was $25,000. If you're a target, that will make you think, won't it? Some credible sounding things about this I read on the internet are gone now, disappeared. I'd like to think I just can't find them, even though that probably isn't the case. Cyberstalking. Cyberstalking, everyone knows what that is or can look it up. Just like all things, these guys it's pretty much business as usual. They take the information they have gathered about the target and present it in a way that is supposed to make the victim wonder, how did that stranger know that? It's the same directed conversation stuff they do to targets at stores and on the street. Well, the internet is a big place and you won't have to go where people get their jellies jerking you around. As a matter of fact, you don't have to go there at all, except maybe to do a little business now and then. And you don't have to share your thoughts or business on the phone or out loud. You don't have to provide them with information to use against you. When you have to speak around perps, use only the words you need. If you don't talk unless needed, the perps will just have to wonder what you are thinking. Reality is poisoning cloaked with misinformation. Common symptoms used search engines are four described poisons are attributed to bogus secret weapons. Electronic weapons of sorts are real, but I have been unable to verify and find credible information on existing electromagnetic weapons as they are described in the strange internet chasm. Also, some of the victims described could be attributed to simple harassment electronics and some of the itching or burning powders that the perps sprinkle on the target's bed. They will contaminate your bed with various drugs in an attempt to make you freak out while trying to sleep. Guarding against illegal entry. Keep the perps out of your home. The perps might be able to open any lock that uses a key. That leaves some type of combination-only lock. If you can afford one or more, install them and learn how to change the combination. Disable all other lock entry key slots with water-soluble wood glue. It can be removed later. Secure all windows. At least know if they are inside. Video cameras. Video cameras anywhere, outside or inside, are a good thing to slow the perps down or keep them away if done correctly. Your own well-hidden camera or listening equipment inside might keep them out. Powdered promotion of asthma. The perps also use powders that will cause an asthma-like attack. Don't panic, the inhaler will stop it, or it will go away after you have gotten it away from the source. Simple electronic promoting ear ringing. The perps will use amplified high frequency above human hearing, kind of like high-powered electronic dog whistle, transducer speakers to make your ears ring. These can be purchased, but it's fairly easy to build a big one with adjustable volume range. I have seen this ear ringing as well as body vibrations associated with non-existent satellite weapon attack. The satellite to Earth-bound human attack is still science fiction in this writing, and perps can produce transducers of the type used in industrial sonic bats and mechanically fix them with screws or floor joists or wall studs underneath repaired drywall, completely hidden from view of normal inspection. The transducers will make your floor vibrate and probably cause heat. They won't spend a lot of time hiding their stuff in houses or apartments, so it won't be found under simple visual inspection. If someone really decides to start looking, they will start finding these things. These tactics are part of never-ending smoke and mirrors routine. Apparently the perps get a charge out of inducing false perceptions. Misinformation summary. This con artist information attack is intended to further psychologically terrify the victims. Hopefully they will react as if crazy. After all, that is what it's all about. If the victim feels to protect themselves, they have already been poisoned and drugged to what the perps hope is an excited state of reduced cognitive ability. At this point in time, the victim is usually attacked by the criminal's very real covert weapon. This is most often done at night because it can be effective at waking you up and keeping you awake. It might also be hard to hide or get away with in the daytime because of sound, size, location, etc. This weapon was originally developed as a crowd-controlled device by a company called Scientific Applications and Research Associates Incorporated of Huntington Beach. It is an acoustic sonic weapon that will make internal organs resonate. These effects have been described by victims of these assaults. The weapon I have seen in video demonstration is based on a combustion chamber that releases multiple ignited fuel charges through a waveguide to produce directional, very low frequency, below human hearing waves. These waves at the time are hard to control over distance as a beam, but as used, it probably doesn't matter that much. This would most likely be used on a detached house. There are electrical versions of these weapons that use transducers that could be used from a shorter range, such as adjacent apartments in an apartment building. The electrical versions I read about require a very large amount of power, were large and only manage a short pulse before needing recharging. These weapons could be greatly improved by now as far as size and power are concerned. The fuel combustion type I saw would be carried by one man. These weapons have undergone some military testing and are not really secret, but I haven't been able to find current up-to-date information. For an old 1997 story, search U.S. News Wonder Weapons by Douglas Pasternak. Telecommunications and bugs. Almost all victims are aware their phone and computer are tapped or will be. Information is gathered from every possible source in order to custom tailor the many various assaults and street fear to the individual. The surveillance information is used and intended to give the target the impression of an all-knowing Orwellian or Big Brother type of situation. Some are not aware that using a hardwired tap, cutting the wire, or inserting a computer interface, that the perps can use computer software to digitally edit your call on the fly. They try to elicit angry responses from victims through constant harassing phone calls or even harassing in public. They digitally record these and clean them up for later use. When you call someone, usually a service that records calls like a telephone company or even 911, they will cut you off after a completed sentence or seamlessly insert an out-of-context, angry, ranting remark you justifiably made at another place or time. The more crazy it sounds, the better. Just imagine how they laugh after one of these edits. They can also use this method to create a false recorded conversation to turn people you know or others against you. Imagine they record a public conversation at a store checkout counter and someone asks about a person you know. You say only good things about this person. Later, in another conversation, they ask you about Osama bin Laden, and you say everything but good things. The perp simply switch a few sentences around and clean it up some. They have what they want, and it is much easier than altering a photograph and using Photoshop. It's almost impossible to detect. Tiny cameras collect victims' every move. Let's talk about covert as if anything is not covert. Cameras in or around your home. I have gathered information that indicates that live video of targets in their homes or while being stalked might be entertainment content for an internet website or a site run by the perp. What would really be bizarre is if some people were paying to view this stuff. At least it is the least viewed constantly by your local perp. You might even be appearing in the best of insert your perp given TI name here video of the week. Your picture and perp created profile and possibly a website for all perpville to view, manufactured fictitious information disseminated to all who have perp web address or could be passed out in a hard copy. Audio bugging, you bet. They'll do it if they can, and they'll do it if they can, and they can. Just a note here, hiring someone to do a bug scan is useless. It's a highly specialized field that takes an experienced expert, and any of them worth anything will tell you it can be done completely covertly because good bugs can be turned off while a scan is in progress. I'm sure the perps might know the guy coming because they already have you under surveillance. If you use your phone for contact, that is foregone conclusion. If the bug is in an adjacent apartment, of course, they will just turn it off. And if it is a hardwired bug, there won't be a signal to pick up anyway. If the perps can't get inside the bug your home, they might use laser to window, a parabolic or shotgun mic. You won't catch them doing any of these. It's not impossible to catch them, but no, just highly improbable. One thing about the scam is that they need to hear your business to work the scam by the book. They can't do any directed conversation anywhere without this information, and it's harder to set up mobbing and coordinate moving surveillance when they have to guess what you are doing. Anyone can pick up voice easily from a safe distance using a parabolic or shotgun mic. The conclusion is it's okay to look every now and then for covert cameras or bugs yourself after a little schooling on this subject, but don't expect to find anything because you probably won't. And don't worry about it. Just go about your business. You can figure out if perps are repeating things you said over the phone or something you said out loud in your house or apartment Where did you say what they repeated? You have control over what you say and where you say it. Call redirection landline cell. Don't forget about call redirection or landlines and cell phones. Know who you are talking to. Do you think you called and talked to someone in law enforcement? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Redirecting calls, you try to make to law enforcement is something the perps do. They will pretend to be a law enforcement officer and tell you there is nothing that they can do to help. And they will make suggestive remarks about your sanity or reputation. They may refer you to another bogus officer to work you again. Always get the name and badge number of officers you speak with over the phone. Always verify anyone you speak with over the phone. If you suspect your phone is tapped, intercepted, redirected, and if you are being gangstalked, it will be, don't use it. You can use a random payphone if you have to. All victims should report this as soon as they can do. So in a reasonable manner, it will never be stopped if no one ever reports it. Reporting the crime. When you report this crime, always go in person with well-planned information you have compiled, including a journal, video, audio, perp names, anything else you can get. If you have been gang-stalked for a long period of time and you don't have any evidence of any kind, just do just what you have been doing all this time. Be organized and complete but brief. Don't elaborate on important everyday details you can't prove anyway. Don't go into gaslighting details. All the particulars are not important. You don't have to file a complaint against anyone. You are only providing information about a crime. Don't tell anyone you are going to do this. If the perps know, there may be a parade of them lining up to give you the treatment all the way there and even into the law enforcement building. Be prepared to do this at any time when you think the time is right to deviate from your normal routine and do it. You can even make practice runs to check logistics, such as where to park, where to go inside the building, and there are surveillance cameras, big plus, in the parking lot or building. Any test run will also test the perp's reaction. Going there a few times to learn the area roads won't be noticed by anyone but the perp. Sound diffusion, bugs, and taps. While at home, you can leave the radio or other things going on all the time to disrupt the perp's probable recording activities on some levels. It's not hard to separate the multiple sounds, and I'm not sure that it would end up good enough for their purpose. The perps don't have to get into your home to install a hook switch or infinity device. It's a type of phone tap that after the phone is answered manually or by machine, the switch on the microphone of the tapped phone is hooked and remains on after hanging up. It becomes an effective listening device that can easily pick up conversations in an average-sized room. This device can be installed anywhere on the phone between your phone and the local central office. It would usually be fairly close to your home or in an apartment building. It can be called and activated for listening up from any phone anywhere in the world. For some, I guess, obvious reasons, the perps like using these. They can be defeated after a call by unplugging the receiver, the phone, or installing an off switch on the phone microphone. Secure phones that turn off the microphone automatically are available but are expensive considering what little is involved. The perps can also sign up for GPS tracking too. They only need a moment with your cell phone to enter a code and you will be just like one of their children. Tracked everywhere you will go with the phone on. They will use your email or their own to verify the GPS account. If you haven't already, don't leave your cell phone anywhere unattended. If they get your number, which is easy, they will monitor and can redirect, edit your cell phone calls using what is known as a portable base station. Scanners are used too, but are less effective and only for listening anyway. They have or can get all the latest electronics that can be had by anyone. Always use an SSH2 encrypted stateside VPN service for internet. Don't use a server offshore for skits that skirts the law. If a perp does something illegal, you want them to be caught. If you find a VPN anywhere that is or is said to be a government honeypot for cyber crooks, that is definitely the one you want to use. The purpose will work to shut down service using their botnet, if only temporary. And be aware that even after a clean reload install of your OS, they will try to get the latest Trojan, keylogger, or virus to you in an email attachment from a formerly trusted source. Sadly, it might be that cute email card from a family member or friend. If they have the run of your home, it takes only a minute to load file software using CD or USB memory drive. If you can't keep them out of your home, back up your data, reload the OS, lock the drives down so they won't boot on startup. Keep your OS locked down or hardened against any known attack methods too. The real bottom line, on any communication service, as long as it runs through a wire, cable, fiber that is accessible to the perp, they can get on it. If they've got your number, common cell phones are not much better as far as interception manipulation is concerned. The article is older, but it is interesting. Tapping computer data is easy. www.textfiles.com hacking /hacking/data.tap. Criminal lineage organization. These organized criminal groups have an appointed leader that controls everything they do. They operate much like a computer botnet, receiving orders, tracking the target, and dispatching a stream of perps. Take appropriate measures to protect yourself from their assaults and stay safe. Be aware of your surroundings and don't respond to baiting tactics. What I've described is just part of what these criminals do. And if you are not a victim, you are probably saying to yourself, I can't believe a large group of criminals are getting away with crimes like this. The reason they are getting away with it is because this large group of criminals literally hijacked the community using the methods described above. It took stalking of well-known celebrities and a death before anyone started taking effective action against stalking. Many people know this is very real, and I know it's being investigated. There are many laws that can easily be applied to these crimes, but no specific laws. A task force is usually appointed to tackle tough crimes. That may be what is needed to address this. You have permission to repost or print any part of this information by anonymous post www.gangstalkingworld.com. Displayed in the above are some points that may bring to light how gang stalking operates. The use of high-tech communications and surveillance equipment by tech-savvy criminals are highly planned gang stalking initiatives. Do what they do. They are covert and pervasive. They have mastered a cell and hire a lawyer and others to do their PR and disseminate hate VI slander. Recruiting uses all venues from con and threat to presentations of fabricated character profiling. The use of technology to manipulate photography and recorded sound supports the fabricated character profile. Through keeping on noted highlights from the above text, we can see that gang stalking / covert harassment is not only about ostracizing, isolating, and gaslighting someone into the hallways of behavior services and psych wards. It may be no question as to whether or not these protracted criminal initiatives, gang stalking, use poison, chemical gases, and psychotomimetic agents, chemical weapons that act on the human mind. Gang stalking covert harassment that include treating mishaps and complications, gets on the street that direct conversation toward the victim using victim's personal information, street theater, baiting the victim to react emotionally or violently is planned in staged situations. See here for more tactics. These altogether can very well tax a person as well as emotionally and mentally cripple to extent one who has been isolated through a widespread covertly done slandering campaign. Thus said, evidence points to an underlying chemical element to these street-level harassment tactics by covertly chemically undermining of the victim's psychological well-being from the author's own experience. Chemicals, certainly, and perhaps poisons are distributed in covert ways and incrementally, usually avoiding outright drugging poisoning effects, and have a more subtle effect that is generalized through day and night. From the authors of this blog's personal account of being gang stalked, what stands out most are fumigations, chemically laced items of consumption, pervasive, strong, unnaturally smelling scents and odors, clothing, food, drink, bedding, rooms. It seems only logically from this that gang stalking is not necessarily exclusively about isolation, gaslighting, and orchestra. Danny, can you hang up the phone, please? I'm sorry about that. Gaslighting and orchestrated mishaps to cause someone to lose it and become mentally unstable. It is about contaminating a person's life with poisons, chemicals, in conjunction with the street-level workplace harassment. From my point of view and my case, these criminals undermine a victim's psychology through felony assault, chemical substances, and drugs covertly administered in an ongoing fashion. Firstly, the perpetrators have made it impossible for me to have a non-taste of corrupted cup of coffee and perhaps poisoning me with tactics that I have long thought were simply taste and odor harassment. The entire enterprise is scary, even horrific, in that common people are recruited into such efforts to basically kill someone by inducing suicide through a low and incredibly torturous method that includes isolation, psychological and moral violence, as well as drugging and poisoning. To have such activity as covert poisoning/drugging take place in ongoing fashions and involving victims who claim to be targets of gang stalking/terror stalking/multi-stalking point directly towards some sick element in contemporary life. The media pays no attention, and the United States is a nation and its government, as well as point to human rights abuses around the world. Yet there is an insidious crime called gang stalking, using slander and psychological terror to wreck lives and drive victims to their death. Right here in North America, do these criminal enterprises have so much power that they have the federal level investigators at such a loss as to how they can tackle it? Has the war on terror caused such a diversion of attention and energy for domestic law enforcement and the Fed so much that since 2001, this pernicious covert criminal activity aimed at innocent people to grow into a lucrative enterprise and skirt the authorities? Are there seemingly law-abiding folk and wealthy or well-connected that have used gang stalking to eliminate enemies, targets of hate, or people they see as being a threat? Stop covert poison fumigation. Stop criminal covert harassment. Support.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
welcome,
Once
Jeff.
again, that was Jeff from Chelsea, Massachusetts, and he just read the webpage at harassmentterror.wordpress.com/category/chemical-weapons. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Harassmentterror, all one word, .wordpress.com/category/chemical-weapons. Jeff, anything you want to say before we terminate this call?
Oh, well, I just hope that people read it. The reading is in the public domain. I did the very best I could do reading it. I'm sorry about the interruption from my friend, and I just hope that people get something out of it. That's all I'm talking. I'll let you go.
Thanks for calling in, Jeff, and doing that reading. The text itself, I gave the URL at the beginning and the end, and Jeff stated that his reading of it is in the public domain, so please do with this recording as you wish. This is Talk Show number 120297. And episode number, 334, I think. Yeah, episode number 3034. And that is the end of this recording.
2 minutes.
Recorded live.
Hello, my name is Chuck, nickname Van of Vancouver, Washington, USA. Welcome to TalkShoe.com. Call number 120297. This call is being recorded, and anything said will go into the public domain. Thus, everyone is entitled and encouraged to copy and republish all or any of this MP3 recording file. You do not need permission. No notification or attribution is necessary. To find more of these public domain audios, go to the top right corner of any TalkShoe.com screen and search for Vancouver or show number 120297, or click on the top left purple Live Now button to see if the show is presently on live on the West Coast. It is 3:15 right now, p.m. on the West Coast. It is Monday, October 15, 2012, number 30. This is recording number 3035. And I have on the phone with me right now Jeff of Chelsea, Massachusetts. And he's the one who did the reading on recording number 3033. And Jeff, how are you? And why don't you do the setup on what this recording is about, please?
Well, this recording is basically a commentary on the reading I did the other day, and to put our 2 cents into the reading, and basically just to set the record straight that not everybody gets chem attacked who's gang stalked, and I believe that gang stalking is manifested in various different forms.
That's the point I wanted to say. I adhered to 98% of the article, but it started out with, it sounded like the article had been gamed, and it made that you have to be chem attacked or you're not gang stalked. And although I am chem attacked, chemicals, in other words, I smell chemicals. It's just terrible. I don't believe that's true. Jeff, why don't you go ahead and finish it up, and let's go ahead and end off the recording. Go ahead.
I don't believe it's true either, and again, I mean, it's they custom make the attack per victim, and I personally believe one of the most common ways boots on the ground is the street theater and the imitating the victim. That's the easiest way to do it, because that's custom making the gang stalking to the victim. I mean, for the other stuff, you have to have a lot of infrastructure, a lot of money, and quite frankly, most people would not want to go through the headache of doing all that stuff.
Okay. No, there is just one other thing. That you made the statement, in our conversation before, that you think there's 2 levels of people. There's the chem attack people who are paid by the government, and then you think the boots on ground people who are harassing out out in the open are lower level. Why don't you go ahead and address that issue, if you would, please, because I think that's an important issue.
Well, I mean the bugging, the real sophisticated stuff, I believe that's on a higher level. Like if you're a Patriot talk show host, for instance, you're going to get what I call the full treatment. But if you're just kind of a minor irritant, then some of the fancy exotic stuff like chem attacks and stuff would actually not be used. It'll be more boots on the ground. Your face and likeness will be on Facebook. Something that any Joe Blow can do. The government agency.
And that's an interesting thought. Is there anything else that you want to say that you think would be appropriate for this particular recording? Once again, this is recording number 3034, which is an addendum to 3033. Is there anything that you want to say on this recording that you wish had been pointed out on the last one, please?
Well, you know, I do now give the article about an A minus. Yeah, and it is well done, except for that part you talked about, Chuck. And I just hope that people read the article, get something out of it, listen to my reading of it, and do your own research. You know, the money's going to run out sooner or later, and I believe there's going to be defectors who are going to come to our side, who are going to put on the record what they've done, and you know, that's pretty much it. We're living on borrowed time.
Okay. Once again, go ahead. All right, Jeff, I hope I lived up to my part of the deal on this discussion that we just had, and that is the end of this recording.
Recorded live.
Hello, my name is Chuck, nickname Van of Vancouver, Washington, USA. Welcome to TalkShoe.com. Call number 120-297. This call is being recorded, and anything said will go into the public domain. Thus, everyone is entitled and encouraged to copy and republish any or all of this MP3 recording file. You do not need permission. No notification or attribution is necessary. To find more of these public domain audios, go to the top right corner of any TalkShoe.com screen and search for Vancouver, or better yet, show number 120297, or click on the top left purple Live Now button to see if the show is underway. The time out here on the west coast of the U.S. is about 10 till 5 p.m. on Saturday, October 27, 2012. This is episode number 3036. Okay, now this is an unusual situation where I have about 4 guests, and I have Joe. He's Joe Dixon. He's got one of his login names, but he's logged in right now as Guest 500, and that's his login ID name, and he's from Freedom SCHS, Freedom from Covert Surveillance and Harassment .com, freedomschs.com, and Joe is going to grace me by calling into this recording here. And now I have to say I've been badgering him to call me in here, and he's not called in, but I know he's there because he's typed into the chat room. He's typed in things like, I heard your, I guess that wasn't him. He's typed in things so that he knows, and he is listening to me right now. Okay, so once again, my name is Chuck, and I want to talk to Joe. And I want to talk to him about some of the shenanigans that the scumbags over at his operation, Freedom from Covert Surveillance and Harassment.com, are pulling on targeted individuals, because it's my... Now, once again, if he calls in, he's going live right away, and he will know that this is in the public domain for the eternity of mankind. So he has shows here at TalkShoe, and they're hidden. Now, if Freedom from Covert Surveillance and Harassment wanted calls, why wouldn't they appear on the Live Now list? If you can click on that purple Live Now list, and his shows would show up as visible, but they're not visible. And he's got them on 5 nights a week, Sunday through Thursday at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., give or take, depending on the night, Pacific time on the West Coast time zone. And then on Friday night, you got various other calls, and most of which are hidden, HIDDEN. They're not visible. Now, if you're with Freedom from Covert Surveillance and Harassment, why would you hide your calls? If you want to get the word out about organized gangstalking, why would you hide your calls? Why wouldn't you make them visible so that everyone would know about this atrocity? But it is their objective to hide the injustices that are being done to targeted individuals. And Joe is very welcome to call in here right now. I'm looking at him in the chat room right now, and his pulse is probably a little bit raised, as is mine, because I want to get this out into the open. And one way to get it out into the open is to talk about it. But you can't talk about it when you have hidden calls. So, Joe, who I have a lot of contempt for, and I will admit, in case you haven't picked up on that yet, as well as Nigel and Derek on his call number 66339, which is visible, but John Wojciechowski's call number 92750 on Friday nights is not visible. Now, why do they have all these invisible calls? These calls that don't appear on the Live Now screen? Why would that be? You know, if they're such a pure organization, if they really do want to get the word out about organized stalking, why does Derek have another call, number 99191 on Monday, sometimes Tuesday nights? Why do they have all these hidden calls? Tell me, why do they do that? Why does this organization, who claims to be the premier organization for targeted individuals, but they have hidden calls? Now, why would that be? Could it be that freedomschs.com, could it be that they are what's known as a false front? One individual that I know calls it controlled opposition. Could it be that Freedom SCHS, that FSCHS is controlled opposition, a group which appears to oppose gang stalking, organized group stalking, community stalking, but are in fact controlled by gang stalkers, whose purpose it is to round up those who oppose it? As one person here on TalkShoe said, that's like the inmates that are in charge of the asylum. Because what you have is you've got the organization. I'm telling you, you've got the organization called freedomschs.com, and I'm telling you, they're dirty. They're dirty. freedomschs.com, and Joe Dixon is in my chat room right now, and he can explain why. And he is very competent. You know, I don't have a lot of time for him, but he is an extremely competent individual technically, and he knows exactly how to call in. And freedomschs.com, what they do, they sit over there and they talk in a hidden room. They're not trying to get the word out. They're beating their head against the poles, and they're not trying to get the word out, and they're going nowhere. It's like they got a budget to spend and they spend it. Okay, once again, my name is Chuck. I'm in call number 120297 on TalkShoe.com. I am on live every night at 10 p.m. Pacific time. That's 1 p.m. on the East Coast time zone. I'm on live every night, and I'm visible. My call is visible because I want to get the word out about organized stalking. But the organization, and I am not being compensated in any way. I'm not expected to do it, and I'm not paid to do it in any way, shape, or form. But these guys are the premier organization. These guys claim to be the big guys with the bully pulpits, but they don't try to get the word out because they're stink. They're dirt. Freedom SCHS is a bunch of filth. They don't try to get the word out. That's what their objective is to be controlled opposition, a group which appears to oppose organized stalking, but they are in fact controlled by the organized stalkers. Their objective is to round up and to silence those who oppose it. And they have an army of people who call in. And if anybody should call in to their show and talk about this issue, they will be flooded. And what I mean by that is there will be a handful of people who will call in and flood them. But I have my finger on the mouse button, the mute button, and I can mute anybody who calls in. And if Dirty Joe Dixon calls in right now, guest 500, who's in my chat room, if he calls in, he's going live, and he's going to know that this call is going into the public domain for the eternity of mankind. This call, whether he calls in or whether he does not call in, this call is going in. Okay, now this is becoming a very uninteresting recording because I'm repeating myself a lot, but there is this issue on our streets where we live. It is called organized stalking. Gang stalking, it's sometimes known as. There are people, and they essentially mob people. Okay? So And it happens daily, and it happens to many targets. And these people are known as targeted individuals. And there is this organization who wants to make up a lot of nonsense. You know, that's what they do. They don't really talk. If you should be so abrupt as to speak about organized stalking, you'll be flooded. You won't be able to get your word out because they'll talk about a bunch of wacky talk, which is very, very uninteresting to listen to. Okay, now I want to. Yeah, that's okay. Hang on, I'm going to read a web page to you. Oh, I should have had it on the screen. I guess I'm not going to read it. Basically, it appears to me that freedomschs.com, the filth operation, the people who do not want to get the word out about organized stalking, they don't want to get the word out. It appears that they're not going to call in, but they're going to have a show on tonight, and they'll sit there and beat the drum. And it's one of the only 2 live shows per week. But then you got Joe, who used to have a live call every night, and there were crazy talk calls, and they laugh about it. And there's these people, and they're with stinking secret societies. And I think that Joe and Derek, the president, who was formerly with the NSA, the National Security Agency. Now, I'm not lying about this, and Derek will not own up to it, and he will not admit to it. But if you pressed him enough, they might mute you, or somebody else might flood you away. But they don't want to talk about it, because what I'm talking about, it's the cat watching the hen house, or however you say that. That they don't want the word to get out about organized stalking, so they hired an NSA piece of scum to come in and run freedomschs.com's website, and right here on talkshoe.com. And Joe is in this room right now, guest 500. That's Joe Dixon. Joe, call me, buddy. Call me. Let's hear it. Let's hear it, Joe. Let's hear why Freedom SCHS is not trying to get the word out about gang stalking, about organized stalking. Come on, Joe. Give me a call, buddy. 724-444-7444. Once again, that's area code 724-444-7444. And then enter call ID number 120297. And then just follow the prompts on the screen. That'll tell you what number to hear. But you know all that, because you've been a competent show host for a number of years now. And I've been on here like every night. I've been your worst nightmare. And I've been digging at your heels to get the word out. But you don't want to talk about organized stalking. What you want to talk about is a whole bunch of crazy nonsense. It's unearthly. That's what Freedom focuses on. These Freedom guys. What a name, Freedom. You know, it's such an honorable name. But there's really a bunch of dishonorable people, and there's secret society filth that are involved in it. And I'd like to talk to you about that, Joe. You can call me anytime. I'm going to go ahead and end this recording, and then I'm going to start the show up again. You know, what that will enable me to do is to click on the green start button, and that is the end of this recording.
Recorded live.
This particular call is entitled Chemical Smell Assaults Used Against Targeted Individuals, TIs. It is perhaps the most important recording I've ever done, because it gets down to the brass tacks of how perps attack targeted individuals with chemicals. Hello, my name is Chuck, nickname Van of Vancouver, Washington, USA. Welcome to TalkShoe call number 120297. This call is being recorded, and anything said will go into the public domain. Thus, everyone is entitled and encouraged to copy and republish any part of this MP3 recording file, with the exception of near the end, where I do clearly state that it's not in the public domain, by the way. You do not need permission, though, for anything else. No notification or attribution is necessary. To find more of these public domain audios, go to the top right corner of any TalkShoe.com screen and search for Vancouver, or better yet, show number 120297, or click on the top left Live Now button to see if the call is presently underway. The time out here on the west coast of the U.S. is 5:05 p.m. on Tuesday, October 30, 2012. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read a paragraph from the webpage. It's on gangstalkingexposed.webs.com/chemicals. Once again, that's called gangstalkingexposed.webs.com/chemicals. It's by pseudonym Animal Lover. Okay, and here I'm going to read this one paragraph. This has been my experience with friends that try to help me. A very close friend got furious for no reason. This is how they destroy relationships. Chemicals are used to change moods. Her friend couldn't smell the chemicals, but she could. And by the way, I can vouch for that. You have acute sensitivity of smell. And after a while, and they can't smell it. He was almost exactly physically violent, but because I dropped something on the floor. I know that this is what they're doing. Imagine the power that gives them. Imagine if people feel the power to make someone else violent and angry. I've seen two of my friends become very angry when I was smelling chemicals. I had one person after another become verbally violent with me for no good reason. I thought they were perps sent to harass me, but maybe they were assaulted by chemicals. If some chemical is working on your central nervous system, how are you supposed to have control? This is a deliberate attempt to weaken and destroy our relationships. And that's the end of her reading. I want to interject something about my own personal experiences with the chems, the chemicals, the offensive smells, the stink, or you may refer to it as something different. I've been gang-stalked. I had been gang-stalked from 2006 until 2010, when finally I learned of the term gang-stalking, organized stalking, on the internet. At that point, in May of 2010, the chemical attacks, the stink, which I thought of at the time as the stink campaign, started. However, I didn't tie the two together. The stink campaign, the chemical assault with the organized stalking, and until just recently, 2.5 years later. Once again, in 2010, I immediately started talking to people about the stalking, of which I had just learned, to a lot of people. And then the chemical attack started at that point when I look back at it and put two and two together. But when I mentioned the smells to one person, she said she had referred to it as a different offensive smell in 5 or so different rooms of her house, and she blamed it onto the devil. And when I said I think it was a boots on ground, dirty tricks campaign, she said she didn't see the difference. And I'm still kind of shocked on that one. But I totally believed her offensive smell story that she told me. So there she was on her hands and knees, scrubbing the floor, trying to get those stinks away. And you have to ask yourself if the gang stalkers, the organized stalkers, had a portion of their people sick enough to do this. And if they're sick enough to plant devices, radio activated perhaps, in many rooms and giggle as they watch it on closed circuit TV. Regarding my personal experiences in Portland, Oregon, one day a guy walked by me on the Max, which is the light rail down there. Did he spray me as he kept on walking by? I have no way of proving it. There's no way ever to prove anything when you're a TI. In my last apartment, on a handful of occasions, there was a garbage smell near the front sliding door to the balcony, and I had to leave the door open actually to get that stink out of the room. And there was a different smell of exhaust fumes near the hallway, even though I was not on the ground floor. I've had smells in this apartment too. When I first got here, 4 to 5 times. Lately, the chem smells are even more frequent and pronounced so, and has happened on perhaps 24 occasions. This could be a payback because I'm being a lot more aggressive about getting the word out about organized stalking, gang stalking. Also, while riding the buses in downtown Vancouver or in the city of Vancouver, Washington, USA, on perhaps 5 different occasions within, say, a couple of weeks, I had someone sit near me, and they smelled offensively. One time, like with a guy with an old army coat that smelled like it had been soaked in beer, but I can't remember what the other smells were, but they were all different. And on these talk show calls, an elderly woman, she frequently complained about offensive voters, and a nasty witch in the chat room aggressively backstabs her whenever she talks about it. And the elderly woman doesn't have a computer, so she can't see the backstabbing. But does this warn off anybody else who's in the chat room who may want to talk about that issue, but is afraid they'll be backstabbed too? They would be backstabbed by that darling witch with a sexy voice. But let that be a notice to anybody who wants to speak out about chemical smells or any other issue about gang stalking. A similar sweet-sounding person may ridicule you to shut you up. But are you going to go down on your terms or theirs? Incidentally, I think the rotten perps like her run most of the targeting-oriented talk shows on TalkShoe.com. They clearly have the run of the place. I'm only talking about the vast majority of the organized stalking shows, which are like 7 or 8 of them. I'm not referring to the TalkShoe infrastructure or any of the other calls. Also, be careful who you give your name out to. In another case, one guy who doesn't want his name used repeatedly and frequently said chems are a common part of the gang stalking, the organized stalking. I'm glad he kept repeating it too, or I may not have put 2 and 2 together. Now, once again, everything I have just read is in the public domain, but what I am about to read is came from various web pages which are noted on gangstalkingexposed.webs.com. And here is an excerpt, which is not in the public domain. These operatives, usually paid dupes, use a variety of chemical agents administered creatively and covertly to influence the behavior of targets. The targets might be completely unaware they're being dosed with these substances. And by the way, I can attest to that. You don't know that you're under the influence and that your voice sounds bad. You don't know it, but unless you record yourself. Some of these chemicals are intended to cause anger or an outburst or provocation. They are trying to establish a false chemically induced pattern of behavior. This may be done. This has been done to me, the guy says, many times. I became aware of the perp's intentions after a few of these assaults. I also realized my reactions are being induced chemically. Most of the assaults against me now are now obvious. She goes on to write, Animal Lover goes on to write another excerpt. But by the way, I think it helps to hear these excerpts from other sources, from many sources. From this website is interesting observation that suggests that weapons, direct energy weapons, are actually chemically induced. The reality of poisoning cloaked with misinformation. Common symptoms are the aforementioned poisons are bogus secret weapons, electromagnetic weapons or sorts, but may be nothing more than chemical weapons. And that is the end of this recording. Let me read my lead-in first.
Recorded live.
Hello, my name is Chuck, nickname Van of Vancouver, Washington, USA. Welcome to TalkShoe.com, call number 120297. This call is being recorded, and anything said will go into the public domain. Thus, everyone is entitled and encouraged to copy and republish any or all of this MP3 recording file. You do not need permission. No notification or attribution is necessary. To find more of these public domain audios, go to the top right corner of any TalkShoe.com screen and search for Vancouver, or better yet, show number 120297, or click on the purple top left Live Now button to see the show. By the way, if the show is underway, the time out here on the west coast of the U.S. is about 7:35 p.m. on Sunday, November 4, 2012. This is episode number 3039, and I have on the phone with me, she goes by a pseudonym Linda4444, and she's not my biggest fan, but what do you have to say, Linda?
Hi, Chuck. Thank you for taking my call. I'm
sure.
finally glad to be able to speak to you because
now this sounds scripted to me. Are you on a script?
Of course not.
Okay, so what do you
write everything out before I speak? Well, if you're going to take my call, Chuck, can I finish the sentence and then you?
Yeah, you can finish the sentence. Let's just keep it going. We need to speed it up here to make it interesting for people. What do you have to say?
Oh, are we in a rush? Okay.
Yes, we're in a rush. I'm always in a rush.
Okay. Well, if you're going to do recordings, I think you need to let the guests.
Well, you do that on your own recordings. What do you have to say? I'm getting ready to terminate this interview.
Okay.
What do you have to say?
Chuck, what I want to say is the first day I started Talk Show, which was October 11th of this year, I entered your
2012.
time, and I was very pleased to find that there was a forum for targeted individuals, and you asked me to call you, which I did.
Call me at my on my personal cell phone, which is area code 360-334-1234. Go ahead.
Okay. So that's what I did, and after I told you about some of my experiences, which I have personally experienced, and that I would probably start a show, I know you got very upset.
No, I didn't get upset. I just didn't believe it. I frankly didn't believe it because most of the issues sounded far-fetched to me, and it looked like you were gaming me. I didn't believe most of it.
Well, I don't game anybody. I am who I am. And that
okay, well, I just didn't believe most of what you were saying, and you didn't get to that part until well over 5 or 10 minutes into the conversation. What else do you want to say?
Can I ask you why you wanted me to call you?
Well, I wanted you to call me because it looked like you were a legitimate person in the chat room on the show, number 120297 here on TalkShoe.com. But after that, you called up on, you called me on the cell phone, and that's when you turned wacky talk.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Well, let me respond to that statement.
Sure.
Afterwards, I put up a website, as you saw, so people could see I am real. Okay. Why
don't you give the URL of that website so that people will know what it is? Let's get that on the audio here, please.
That's where souls reside.
WHERESOULSRESIDE.com.
That's correct. I put my face out there. Okay.
Okay.
Pictures, people I know. I was in the film industry. I was a
okay. Yeah. Well, this show is about organized stalking.
That's
what do you have to say? Do you believe in that? Do you believe in organized stalking?
I think you better read my update where I'm targeting.
Yeah, I'm just asking. I don't have time to read your website. Besides that, this interview is going to the public domain for the eternity of mankind. I'm just asking you, do you believe in organized stalking?
Of course I do. I'm a targeted individual at least since 1969. Okay?
So that's 40 years ago.
That's correct.
Okay. So what sorts of things are happening back in 1969, please?
I just updated my website. I put it all up on there. Okay, there's 22 things that I put down about my particular targeting, whether I was being tailgated by white vans, whether I had people stalking me out of state, out of the country, on cruise ships, and of course they messed with my finances.
What sorts of things did they do on the cruise ships, please?
Well, there was this couple who were around me every time I turned around, and I saw that they, had no type of expression. They were there to watch me. I was with a friend. See, my story has witness. So I was with a friend. People have known I have been stalked for many, many years. I was set up. I used to be a private investigator in North Hollywood. All right, I had no experience whatsoever working with the police. And I was approached while I was working in real estate. And they told me, we want you to come and train with us and work undercover. I said, excuse me, I have no experience in that. I'm not interested. And they said, name your price. So anyway, that whole situation, my first day on the job, a police officer was training me. And
well, this is about organized stalking. Now, you have said to me that you think I'm hacking your computer. Now, do you really believe that I'm hacking into your computer, Linda?
I wasn't born yesterday, Chuck.
Okay, so you're accusing me of hacking into your computer.
Look, I thought you wanted...
Yes or no? Are you accusing me of hacking into your computer? You're saying, you weren't born yesterday. What a radical statement. Come on, answer the question.
Hey, calm down, okay?
Just answer the question. Do you think I'm hacking into your computer, and if so, how?
other people have complained and said you have. Yes or no?
Oh, other people. Now, how many other people are there, Linda?
James? How's that for one?
Huh?
James?
Oh, James. Okay. Okay. So you got one other person. Is that right? One other person? You're saying other people.
I've heard.
Come on, Linda. Pull your thumb out of it. Let's go. We're going to do an interview or not here. Let's go. I don't have all day.
You need to calm down. You want to do an interview? Then you need to act like a human being for a change.
How many people, Linda? How many people? James and who else? James and who else? Who else, Linda? Come on. Let's have it.
You be quiet so I can.
How many other people, Linda?
I have seen at least another person mention that while I was.
And you of course, don't want to give this other person's name. Is that right? And the three of you who are all against me here because I'm trying to get the word out about organized stalking of targeted individuals. But you want to turn it crazy, don't you, Linda?
So, let me ask you one question. Do you think that targeted individuals should only speak about the experiences they had, regardless of whether somebody thinks it's wacko or not? Yes or no? Answer the question, Chuck.
Yes.
Good.
I do. I think anybody. I'm gonna elaborate on that. I think anybody that talks about a whole bunch of other crap is a dupe. I think anybody that allows to be bullied into talking about a bunch of other wacky talk, such as the stuff that you've talked about, has been so far-fetched. I'm not gonna host that kind of talk. If you want to talk about that, start your own show, which, by the way, I wish you would do.
I am going to start my own show. Now, did you just hear yourself? Didn't I just ask you, Chuck, do you think people should only talk about their targeting based on their own experience?
Yes, I think people should only allow talk about what they really believe in. I think anybody that allows their show to get directed into the wild and the woolly, the wacky, the crazy stuff that you talk about, so far-fetched, you've got just like a long menu of items that you talk about. You want to talk about it, I say, good, start your own show, but you ain't talking about it here.
Chuck, I'm not talking about it here. I am going to start my own show. I am just telling you need to get off your high horse and act as if you're a damn expert because you didn't experience it. Got it?
I got it. Yeah, I got it. I totally got it. And I'm telling you, if you want to talk about all that wacky stuff, start your own friggin' show, but you're not talking about it here. I'm not letting it get on my airwaves.
I am not talking about it here. Okay? I have
there you
a
go.
For you. We should only talk about the things that we have personally experienced, right? You disagree with me, yes or no?
Say that again, please.
I said, did you just agree with me that we should only talk about things we have personally experienced? Yes or no, Chuck?
I'm just saying, I don't know about what you should... Yeah, I believe that you should talk about what you personally experienced. And I believe if you allow yourself to get sucked in to talking about a bunch of nonsense, you're kind of a dupe.
Stop it. Okay. Since you have already put it in the public domain where you say you were a Scientologist,
I said I hung around that cult, that stinking cult. I hung around them for 5 weeks. And it was one of the probably the most stupid thing that I've ever done.
Okay. So
have you ever been involved with that cult, by the way? Yes or no?
You know what?
Have you ever been involved with that cult? Yes or no?
They tried to recruit me.
Have you been involved? Did you get recruited? Did you set foot into an org? Yes or no?
You know what they did? You know what they did after they tried to recruit me, and after they gave me that goddamn $300 number questionnaire and give me all this bullshit of all their stuff, the fish swim, the birds fly, and all this clearing crap. Okay, I was with the big boys. I was up there in San Francisco, all right?
So you have set foot into a Scientology org. Is that what you're saying, Linda?
Yes, I'm saying that because the organization...
And over how long of a period of time did this last, please?
Let me explain myself. If you would
How long of a period of time did this last? Was it a year? Was it a decade? It's a real simple question.
Can I speak?
Just answer the question. How long did it go on?
Back in the 80s, my entire office went there because the owner wanted everybody to get Scientology skills for this particular career.
Really? Okay.
Are you kidding? Everybody was into it in the 80s. I'm from LA, okay? Been there, done that. All All right.
Okay, so there you were in San Francisco in the 80s, and you went into an office. And so how many people got sent to the Oregon? Over how long of a period of time did that last, please?
Well, I was the office administrator, so I took some of my staff. So there must have been about, at that time, maybe 3 or 4 people. I had no clue about Scientology.
Yeah, that's how they suck you in. So over how long of a period of time did this last, please?
One day, okay? When I went in there, and they put you down, they make you sit down in this exercise where your trainer is sitting right across from you, and your knees.
How long? So you're saying you went in for one day and you never went back again?
They threw me out because I told them this is a bunch of bullshit. This is mind-controlled code.
Hey, good for you. There's a woman after my heart. So they threw you out because you told them it was a crock.
They threw me out. They threw
me
out.
What about the other 3 or 4 people that you went in there with?
Hey, they were my staff.
And did they go out too? Did they throw them out too, or did they keep them? And did you lose your job as a result of that?
Absolutely not. I run the business, okay? Everybody does what I say. We take care of people.
Okay, so you're saying that, and how long did you keep that job after you said this is bunk? How long did you keep that job?
20 years.
You kept the job for 20 years, and that was your private
right.
detective job? Is that what it was?
No. I'm talking, I have been an entrepreneur. I have had many jobs. I was a administrator in health.
But you were under the roof of this place for 20 years. Is that right?
They were under my roof, okay? Did you not hear what I said?
Oh, so it was your roof. No, yeah, you're right. I didn't hear that. So it was your roof.
You don't pay attention because you don't listen. That's your problem.
Yeah, you probably got that right.
That's right.
Guilty, Your Honor. Guilty.
Hey,
guilty.
That's right. You need to look in the mirror, Chuck. Got it?
Got it.
Good. That's what I like to see. Person put the mirror up and look at themselves.
Okay, so tell me something about this. So you're going to run this show on gang stalking. Now, so tell me about how that's affected your life.
Are you kidding? I was a woman who made a lot of money, and I saved my money, and I had retired.
I know. I want to hear about the money. I want to hear about the gang stalking. Tell me how they gang stalked you.
Oh, do you want me to tell you the 20 things? Or you can just go to my website and read it. Okay?
I don't want to go to your website, Linda. This is interview. Just let's go. One, bam, 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 bam. Let's go. I don't have all day.
Stop it. You need to calm down. That's your problem. All right? You need to stop being a goddamn Nazi control freak, Chuck.
That's me,
all
man.
Right? That's you. You need to stop it.
Okay, let's. You spent a lot of time talking about the barking and the Nazis, but you haven't talked about what sorts of things did they do to harass you, please.
Well, they tampered with my mail, put a false bottom in my mailbox at the UPS store. They have tailgated me. A couple of my friends have died. They have implanted some of my family to harass me. They took away all my money and investments in home, left me penniless. They turned my family against me. They did some major ass shit. So,
yeah, sounds like it.
Just go look at my damn targeting website that I put up.
Again, I'm not. We already gave your website out. I want to. This. I'm telling you, this interview is going to live for many decades, maybe perhaps 100 years, and your website's not going to be around then. So I want to get it on the interview here.
Get off it and let me finish talking.
Keep going.
Then be quiet. They have hit me with electronic weapons in my brain that came from all sides, about 20 times on the side and the back and so forth.
How do you know that? How do you know they hit you with it?
I know that.
I'm asking you. That's a fair question. How do you know that? How do you know they hit you? Go ahead. How do you know that?
You need to be silent.
How do you know that? I don't have all day, really. This is becoming a very uninteresting interview. I'm just saying, how do you know they've done that to you?
Well, maybe because I felt sharp pains in my brain. How about that, Chuck?
Okay. What else? How else do you know it?
Jesus Christ. this happened.
Once again, I hope we can keep the any sayings like that not on this tape, because I do want to be able to keep it.
Then you need to chill out and calm down.
Oh, so it's all my fault that you're saying profane words and saying things like that, huh?
I'm the sweetest, nicest person. I'll bend over backwards for anybody.
All right.
When somebody tries to treat me like a piece of shit, I will bark louder. Got that?
Yeah, I got it.
Good.
Tell me more about how you've been harassed and stalked, please.
I would have to go to my website and look at all that shit.
Well, you have to go to a website. You say you've been harassed and stalked for 40 years, and all of a sudden you've got to go to a website to get some examples. I want some examples, woman.
Okay, quiet. I was cut on my torso with 13 marks, some of them 2 or 3 inches long. They're on my website. The pictures are there. I had witnesses.
I think how do you know it was your torso? Is your face in there?
You know what? I will talk about that on my show. You just said, you didn't want to know about it. I'll talk about that on my show.
Okay, well, tell me how else have you been stalked and harassed? Do you have to go to your website to do this, or can you just rattle some things off the top of your head?
Look, I already told you the electronic weapons in my brain. Okay, I got burn marks. I got a radiation burn on my chest overnight. Okay, that was about 11 by 10 inches.
Sounds like a crock to me. I don't believe you.
Well, I don't give a shit whether you believe me or not, because I had a witness.
Ah, so you had a witness there while you were burned, huh?
I called. Because I don't care whether you believe it or not. Because everything you say, oh, that's wacky. Oh, that's this. Well, guess what, Chuck? This world that we live in is not only in the 3D world. Okay, you need to grow up.
All right, I'll grow up. And that is the end of this interview. And I want to thank you for listening.
Recorded live.
Hello, my name is Chuck, nickname Van of Vancouver, Washington, USA. Welcome to TalkShoe.com. Call number 120297. This call is being recorded. Anything said will go into the public domain. Thus, everyone is entitled and encouraged to copy and republish any or all of this MP3 recording file. You do not need permission. No notification or attribution is necessary. To find more of these public domain audios, go to the top right corner of any TalkShoe.com screen and search for Vancouver or show number 120297, or click the purple top left Live Now button to see if the show is presently underway. The time out here on the west coast of the U.S. is 7:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Monday, November 12, 2012. This is episode number 3041. Now, I just had a visit in my room from Derek Robinson, who goes by the pseudonym of freedomschs.com. He actually typed 2 things, a dot, and then he says, I got to run. I gave him every opportunity to call in. I told him that, now he's with freedomschs.com, who I believe is essentially a dirty operation. I told him that half of the talk time I would not drown him out. He's going to have the ability to talk. I have the ability. I have never had more people in the room. I had Stinking Joe was in the room 3 times under guest 500. Nano Man and something else. One of his 20 or 25 pseudonames. Those are just the ones that I know of. I have a lot of questions that I want to ask Derek, basically. I want to talk about a lot of things because us TIs, us targeted individuals, are constantly being harassed and harangued. And he knows about it. And he's with the organization that's supposed to be leading us out of this, but he's not. I believe he is dirty, and he knows that I believe that. And he knows that he had the opportunity. He still does. It's an open opportunity. It's an open call. But I tell you this: if he comes on here ever and agrees to be and goes on the interview, I can tell you the interview will go into the public domain for the eternity of mankind. There is nothing that will take out his interview. other than perhaps somebody clicking a terminate button or something. I'm telling you, he was probably in here for 5 or 10 minutes. He's been in here 2 or 3 times before, and he was probably in here, and he's never said anything. Actually, today he typed dot, and he typed gotta run. You know, he just is not, today wasn't gonna be the day for him to do this interview. And really, this venue, it is the only place in the entire planet Earth that is entirely, I want to get the word out about organized stalking and nothing else. I don't care about all that other stuff that they want to talk about over on their call. I'm gonna shoot down all that crazy, wacky stuff if they bring it up, you know. And I do it frequently. I'm going to keep this short. I wanted to let you know that I had a visit from Derek Robinson that he actually typed in input a couple of times. It doesn't look like he's going to come back in. He said, I got to go. And he flew the coop. And I'm sitting here with a dozen or so users, half of whom are guests. And all the nanomans left. And basically, the only thing I can tell you is this is the place to come and get the word out about one thing: organized stalking of targeted individuals. That is what I do. That is the only thing I do. And I don't let this call get diverted into all those wacky nonsense topics. You know, I don't know that, but I can tell you that is the end of this recording.
Recorded live.
Hello, my name is Chuck, nickname Van of Vancouver, Washington, USA. This is Talk Shoe Show number 120297. We have something a little different today. We have Open Truth Radio, and he's going to read an article which came from nowpublic.com. It's by Scrivener, S-C-R-I-V. Hang on, God's sakes. S-C-R-I-V-E-N-E-R. It's by Vic Livingston, and he's going to do this reading. His reading, he has said, is going to be in the public domain. We have neither of us has the ability to put the text that he's going to read in the public domain. And without further ado, how are you, Open Truth Radio, and are you ready to start your recording?
I am fine, and I am ready.
Okay, let's go.
All right. It says officials confirms what thousands of victims have long known. An evil U.S. shadow government is considering a covert, taxpayer-funded genocidal purge of American society, while Congress and apparently entertained Obama administration sleeps.
And if I can interject the title of this, once again, this is on nowpublic.com. It's U.S. government runs gang-stalking vigilantism, says ex-FBI official. It's by Get Political by Vic Livingston. Please continue.
Also, on the author's note, former FBI official Ted Gunderson died of cancer on July 31st, 2011. Was his illness induced by silent electromagnet assault or by other nefarious means? We will never know, and that's just the way certain entities want it. A former senior official of the Federal Bureau of Investigation says rogue military intelligence and law enforcement units of the federal government oversee a nationwide network of community-based gang stalking, harassment, intimidation, and domestic terrorism directed at thousands of U.S. citizens who have been extrajudicially targeted as descendants or undesirables. Ted Gunderson, 82, who has served as the special agent in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles, Memphis, and Dallas field offices, have stated in a series of public speaking appearances that he is now targeted by these same elements and fears for his life and for the safety of his family. He reports that the windows of his home have been shot out, and he believes he has been poisoned and physically sickened by those seeking to silence him. Since his retirement from the FBI in the 1979, Gunderson has been a Southern California-based private investigator. He is most noted for his defense work on the murder case involving former Army physician Dr. Jeffrey McDonald. The ex-FBI official's comments represent the most compelling testimony to date, indicating that black operations of the federal government are dedicated to waging a covert war of terror and persecution targeting American citizens. Based on my 30 years experience and research, I have determined there are thousands of victims who have been targeted by an illegal U.S. government rogue criminal enterprise, military intelligence, probably tied into CIA and FBI and so forth, that is active 24 hours a day throughout the United States. Gutterson stated in an October 2008 speech posted last fall on YouTube. And that was it.
Yeah, and we should say that we should note that there is a link there in this article, but you're also going to tell us what they can search for Gunderson and so on. Reach that note, if you would, please.
All right. The link is youtube.com/watch_B equal.
Yeah, that's right. They're not going to get that, but if you could read beginning with a NOTE note colon and from that on, please.
Okay, yes. Okay, I didn't see that. I'm sorry.
Sure.
All right. It appears that the link to the Ted Gutterson YouTube video has been sabotaged. Please search Ted Gutterson in YouTube, which is in quotations, and look for the link to his speech at the Golf Symposium. I believe this is more blatantly illegal and malicious interference with telecommunications by operatives of Lockheed Martin under the contract to U.S. Homeland Militant Intel or another entity representing the agencies, commands, and corporations of the U.S. Fusion Center Network. It is far too extensive to be controlled by a private enterprise, Gutterson said. I believe this well-organized and sophisticated operation has a central command located somewhere in the United States with multiple satellite offices scattered throughout the country, said Gutterson. It appears
Are you going to
yes.
Go ahead.
I just had to scroll down, sorry. It appears those who administer the program can call any location in the United States for surveillance, a telephone tap, or harassment directed at a victim, and immediately dispense manpower to the source. This well-greased covert operation makes the old FBI counterintelligence program, codenamed Contel Pro, look like
COINTEL Pro. Sorry.
Like a Sunday school class. Gutterson also maintains that federal security and law enforcement agencies and commands have been infiltrated by members of secret societies such as the Illuminati, which he has described as a satanic criminal cult. Sorry.
Sure.
This correspondent has reported that Lockheed Martin, the world's largest defense contractor and the prime cybersecurity and information technology supplier to the federal government, coordinates the communications and trains the team leaders of nationwide Gestapo-like apparatus, which has tentacles. Yeah, I got that.
Sorry.
Tentacles into
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I read fast because I'm a fast reader. I'm trying to slow it down.
Sure.
Tentacles into every security and law enforcement agency in the nation, including state and local police and 72 regional fusion centers administered by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. According to company literature, Lockheed Martin has operations in 40 states.
And I should point out there is a now public link there, but you're going to continue with the Lockheed Martin also has.
Okay. Lockheed Martin also has operational command and control over a U.S. government microwave radio frequency weapon system deployed on cell tower masts throughout the United States that is being used to silently torture, impair, subjugate, and electronically incarcerate so-called targeted individuals. The nexus of this American torture matrix appears to be Lockheed Martin's mission in Combat Support Solutions, Central Command Center in Norristown, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, which employs several thousand workers. The defense contractor's global headquarters is in Bethesda, Maryland, just outside the nation's capital. Lockheed Martin, under contract to U.S. security and intelligence agencies and commands, also conducts warrantless surveillance of the telecommunications of targeted persons and routinely censors and tampers with content of their communications, as this reporter has documented in a series of articles.
And those articles are listed. There's 4 of them. They all come off of nowpublic.com under Scrivener. Please continue.
All right. Thousands of Americans, including this veteran journalist, have publicly reported being the victims of silent electromagnetic assault, community-based home intrusions, vandalisms, and even the poisoning of food, water, and air. Federal and local law enforcement routinely dismiss their reports as the product of delusions or mental illness and refuse to investigate their complaints.
And there's 5 more links that are linked there. This is a well-documented article. Please continue.
These targets and their families have been physically harmed and financially destroyed as a result of taxpayer-funded psychological operations, police protected community, stalking, harassment, and malicious vandalism, and other covert programs of personal destruction, including government-assisted financial sabotage. Many appear to have been targeted as a result of their politics, their activism, or corporate whistleblowing activities, their ethnic background, or as a result of score-selling vendettas by persons in positions of power in government and in the private sector. The former FBI executive's remarks are only now attracting widespread exposure on this and other websites. This correspondent believes that recent revelations of government-sponsored domestic terrorism against U.S. citizens have prompted some conscientious
insiders to call attention to Gunderson's public statements. No problem.
Yes. Gunderson has said the government-sponsored gang-stalking terrorism is financed through illegal black operations such as sales of illegal drug, gambling, prostitution, even sexual exploitation of children. But this reporter believes it's more likely that the programs of government-sponsored domestic terrorism are funded from the military and security black ops budgets that have been illegally diverted to covert domestic programs administered and conducted primarily by defense contractors. Last year, the New York Times disclosed that an official of the U.S. Air Force has set up an unauthorized military intelligence spy ring in Pakistan and Afghanistan, run by Lockheed Martin and funded by these defense appropriations.
There's a link to a NewYorkTimes.com article there. Please continue for this last paragraph.
All right. This correspondent suspects that a similar arrangement could be funded government-sponsored gang-stalking operations throughout the nation and has urged Congress to immediately hold public hearings as a part of a comprehensive investigation of military-style black ops targeting American citizens and their families. A silent, slow-kill genocide motivated by ideology and hate.
And there are a number of feedbacks. There's like hundreds of feedbacks, and we can't cover them all. Open Truth Radio, I really want to thank you for doing that reading for us.
All right, thank you as well, and I'm glad to be here, and you have a good day, Chuck.
You too, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the end key right now.
Talk show. Recorded live.
Hello, my name is Chuck, nickname Van of Vancouver, Washington, USA. Welcome to Talk Show call number 120297. This call is being recorded, and anything said will go into the public domain for the duration of mankind. Thus, everyone is entitled and encouraged to copy and republish any or all of this MP3 recording file. You do not need permission. No notification or attribution is necessary. To find more of these public domain audios, go to the top right corner of any TalkShoe.com screen and search for Vancouver or show number 120297, or click on the purple top left Live Now button to see if the show is presently underway. The time out here on the West Coast of the U.S. is roughly 5 p.m. on Friday, November 16, 2012. This is episode number 3043. I have on the phone with me Clee, and she just called in. And how are you, and what's going on?
Okay, well, I had just discovered that, well, I'm a member of SSCHS, and I discovered that, the reason I called was I wanted to find out more about what happened to Derek last night.
Yeah, well, FSCHS, for those people who are listening in, it stands for Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance, and to the best of my knowledge, all I know is what I read on a log that somebody pointed out that they... evidently there was some type of falling out on his safe house. Once again, though, go ahead.
No, well, here's what the situation was. Everybody sort of pitched in and to help put that thing together over there, and he moved and everything out of Ohio, go all the way to California. And what happened was, I thought they were painting the place and fixing the place and doing everything to fix up her property. And then all of a sudden she just drops the axe.
So some type of a safe house. Now, we should explain to the listeners of this show, for a decade from now, a millennium from now, we should explain that a safe house, why don't you tell the people what a safe house is, please, Clee?
Oh, well, I'm not exactly schooled in all of these things, but from what I understand, a safe house is a place where people or targeted individuals can go to join together and be safer as a community together, protecting each other and so forth and so on.
The one thing that always bothers me about those freedom calls is they never address the issue of what happens if a perp is among the people that are in the safe house.
I agree on that. I do agree on that.
And how often do you think that happens, based on the things on the calls that you've listened into?
I think it might happen. It might happen quite often, but you just don't know. That's the problem.
And there's no test per se to.
There's no security on that issue.
Okay. And so Derek pulled up stakes in Ohio, and he drove all the way to Southern California, San Diego, I guess it was, and he went to some house. Go ahead.
Yeah, and there was such a positive movement as far as he was concerned, and everyone was concerned who was involved in it. And I've heard her speak, the owner of the house. That she wanted it to be called Freedom House, and that she wanted it to be, a very public thing with, by redoing the garage and making it parties there and so on and so forth, and homes for the targeted individuals. And then he moved there, and he brought some other people there, and I saw pictures of them painting the place and fixing the place and all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden...
Now, where did you see these? Where did you see these pictures, please?
Oh, on
I'm going to end this stream because I need the laptop or something else. I got to make a video responding to a guy who's been falsely accusing me online, a guy called Jack Smack. And he made another video mentioning me, still false accusing me, stabbing me. So I got to make another video exposing him as the